I want to talk to you about the real estate investing lies that are so common that we don't even notice anymore. But I need you to think about them so that you can have a positive experience with your real estate investment properties. So as I was walking around getting a little bit of exercise after lunch, I was beginning to think about the real estate lies that are out there. The first one I want you to think about is, well, I could be charging more rent, but... This is a very common one when I go to talk to people who want to sell their investment properties. If I'm representing the buyer, I always hear, well, you know what? We're only getting $1,500 a month rent, but I know you can get $1,800 a month rent. Well, here's my question for you folks. If owning real estate investment properties is really just buying income, why would you be leaving $3,600 a year on the table instead of actually charging that? If the market rent was truly $1,800, wouldn't you be charging that? Every once in a while, there might be a benevolent reason that a landlord is really working with their people, and I get that. People by and large are pretty good people. But here's the deal. That's going to have you kicking that person out or raising the rent by $300, and they're probably going to leave you just because the rubber band got too tight that when you raise them $300, they said, well, I'm going to go somewhere else. Keep in mind, when somebody tells you what the rent should be, you need to be really checking what the rents are. So that's the first thing. Don't believe the, well, I could be charging. Make sure that you're verifying that. The second thing I want you to verify is this, the rents. Make sure that during the inspection period, you get copies of the lease and you can get out of that contract. There's two things you can do. Examine the lease and make sure that the rents reported are actually the rents coming in. You can ask for a history of the payments of that property. You can also go and read the lease. And this was real common in the old days, and I'm beginning to see it sneak back in. And I'm just going to make up easy numbers. Hey, it's $1,000 a month for rent, and therefore that's what you should base your buying numbers off. But when you go to read the lease, you find out they moved in with a free month up front, and the 10th month was also free. In other words, that $12,000 a year unit, that is $1,000 a month, is really only a $10,000 a year unit. So you're receiving $2,000 less than was reported, because when you asked what the rents were, they said $1,000 a month. They didn't mention the 2 months free. This can really change your numbers. So again, make sure you see the leases, make sure you see the payment history, and as a bonus, you can ask for an estoppel agreement. Now, I'm no lawyer, but that basically makes the landlord sign something that says, there's nothing I've left out of this, and I'm responsible if I did. I asked one person to sign that one time, and they absolutely refused, but they also absolutely refused to give us a history of the payments or the lease during the inspections. So we backed out of that contract for obvious reasons. One of the other great myths or lies or misunderstandings about real estate investment properties is you always make money. And folks, that's just not always true. If you're buying in the wrong neighborhoods, if you're buying on homes that will appreciate, and especially if they're in upper bracket areas, they're an A property or a B property, it's pretty hard to lose money. But if you're buying C, C minus, D properties in bad neighborhoods that are only getting worse, don't think you're going to keep up with inflation on the appreciation. In fact, you could be going backwards in a hurry. Now, I'm not against these neighborhoods. I'm not against buying 1 or 2 of these, or maybe buying 8 on a block, therefore turning that block around. But just make sure you understand real estate investing is a business, and businesses can lose money. It's hard to lose money in real estate investing, but I see a lot of people do it successfully. Another myth, and this one kind of makes me a little queasy because, everybody's got different parameters on what they call a return. But one of the things I hear people say, so long as your rent covers the PITI, the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, you're going to be good. If I just find a house that does that, I'm good. Well, folks, you can cover the PITI with just the rents by just making sure you put the right amount down. But the other part of that, though, is what about the unexpected expenses? What about the melting ice cube expenses? What about the fact that that roof is going to need to be replaced in 6 years? If you're not putting any extra cash flow away for that roof, it's going to come out of your pocket, or you're going to have to refinance the house. So just make sure that you understand when it comes to real estate investments that you do need to be making money on them so that you can reinvest it back in the property. It's not all your money to go to Cancun with or to fund your retirement. You have to reinvest into your asset from time to time. Here's a myth or a strategy that I'm not always crazy about. Now, I'm a big believer in the appreciation, especially long-term, especially if you hold and hold and hold a property, especially in A and B neighborhoods. But buying strictly and solely on appreciation is a little bit of real estate speculation. You're speculating that the economy is always going to be going up and up and up and up and up. Now, not very often in American history has housing gone down, but it has. And appreciation is notoriously, it's up here, and then it's down here, and then it's up here, and then it's down here. But over a straight line around the country, it tends to be right around 4%. Here in Kansas City, right about 4.1%. So when you buy on the history of appreciation and the expectation of it, but don't make it the only way of the 4 ways that you make money in real estate investing. You could be setting yourself up for failure. And lastly, I see this one more than I care, is that sometimes, especially in the C and D neighborhoods, the landlords or the selling agents want to report all of the incomes. All of the incomes. Doesn't matter whether they're actually collecting them or not. They report all the incomes and only some of the expenses. This is rampant in our MLS, that people will say, hey, the expenses are this. And what you find out is the expenses really only included their taxes or their mortgage payment and their taxes. But what about the utilities? What about the upkeep? What about management if there was any? What about the HOA if there was any? There are about 10 or 12 or 13 different expenses we're routinely looking at for every property. Remember, garbage in, garbage out. You want to have accurate rent numbers to plug in, and you also want to have accurate expenses to plug in so that you actually know what your cash flow before taxes will be, so that all of your other numbers can come from that net operating income. That's what all this is about, is creating your best life by understanding the numbers. Folks, those are some of the lies or misconceptions or misunderstandings about real estate investing I just want you to think about as you're looking at your next real estate investment. My name is Chris Lindquist. I love talking about this stuff. In the show notes below, there will be a link on how to book a 15-minute discovery call with me. Hey, I'm not charging you for coaching. I'm not charging you for courses. It's just simply this. If you have interest of spending some money in real estate investments, I can help you here in Kansas City or 12 or 14 other cities or states around the country where I work with people and network with people just like me. We make our money when you buy and sell houses, or we manage them for you. It's not about the call. The call is about you. The call is about deciding what you need and what you want for your financial future. I hope to hear from you.